Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome again. Now, before we move further, let's share different stances on these new legislations taken by different stakeholders. A constitutional body, Standing Committee on Cabinet Secretariat, unanimously rejected PMC and passed a resolution terming it an attack on supremacy of Parliament. Another Pakistan Medical Association and dysfunctional PMDC implies demand immediate withdrawal of the PMC, dreaming for reinstatement or re-employment. YDA, on the other hand, emerged as a pro-patients and public organizations, having very sound and solid stances. They say this move serves the vested interests and is a grave injustice and end of merit, because it is a Prime Minister's medical commission whose 9 members would be nominated by him alone, and they question Pakistan Bar Council is run by lawyers. Why doctors regulators are not being run by doctors? Secondly, greater autonomy and wide range of powers given to private medical colleges in contravention of the judgments given by Supreme Court regarding tuition fee and other charges, selection of university of their own choice for affiliation purposes, and set their own criteria for hiring faculty in these medical colleges. Thirdly, it has affected the credibility of Pakistani doctors and those working within the country holding PMDC certification. And fourthly, this grave injustice is sham and end of the merit, as with one stroke of pen it is disbanded. Lastly, mushroom growth of private medical colleges made it a multi-million-dollar business involving influential doctors, bureaucrats, landlords in complete disregard to standards of quality medical education. Now, these mafias can easily indulge into malpractices, like seats on merit would be reduced and replaced with sponsored seats in medical colleges. What's example of conflict of interest? YDA point seems very rational. So let's work on a way forward by placing submissions to Honorable President to end this deadlock in national interest. Mr. President, to me it is shocking beyond belief that government not only bypassed Parliament but also other stakeholders. They have not taken on board on this legislation. Think for a spur of moment how some students can be exempted while others be made after qualifying MBBS or BDS exam have to pass another exam called the National Licensing Examination to start their house jobs. Does this suggest that you do not have trust in your own medical colleges, in your own educational institution, importing medical education in this country, and you promote mushroom growth of coaching center? What's wrong to review such clauses promoting discriminating and favoritism? Likewise, Clause 2A of Section 9, how Council can make the appointment of members of Commission when Section 4.1 states that 9 members would be nominated by the PM. Again, this clause seriously lacks transparency, merit and democratic values. Then comes Medical Tribunals Ordinance 2019, which was meant to take up cases against healthcare providers, is another selected body whose 4 members would be nominated by the PM. No criteria and qualification is mentioned. Now, the Constitution of Pakistan recognizes supremacy of legislation, and Article 98, read with Article 94, 90, and 92, empowers President to make and promulgate ordinance in case Parliament is not in session. The total life of such ordinance is 240 days. Therefore, the same shall be tabled before Parliament for deliberation and approval. But at the moment, would you not like to review Section 6 of General Clause Act 1897, due to which the legal status of all medical practitioners within and outside Pakistan is a big question mark? We understand the ruling party has reservation on opposition who might block such reforms or cause delay. Why don't you remove the anomalies existing in making this legislation highly controversial and contentious, forcing people at large to say this democratic government must shut down the Parliament and Council of Common Interest? if it opts to govern the country through such ordinances, as apparently it seems. I'm sorry to say, Mr. President, that this is nothing but a will of present regime to protect corruption and corrupt practices. Like dictator who needs a few seconds to do away with the parliament, I tell such draconian discriminatory laws never sustain if not reviewed. In the prevailing circumstances, it is the responsibility on the shoulders of bench and bar to put an end to such contraventions of the constitutional provisions, especially Article 89 read with Article 92, 94 and 264, and Chapter 1 related with fundamental rights, which cannot be suspended even at the time of war and emergency. They have to stop an individual or institution who is making transgressions on the fundamental rights according to the people of Pakistan by the Constitution. A very important point is it is the constitutional obligation to honor and obey the law of the land, and when in 2018 SCMR 1956 through a landmark judgment it was held that repromulgation of ordinances, especially when either not approved or disapproved by the Parliament, is nothing but a fraud on the Constitution and subversion of democratic legislative process. Mr. President, are you all not committing heinous offences under Article 6 of the Constitution, read with Section 420 PPC, and provoking doctors to prosecute you under law? Mr. President, you have no moral authority to hold this office, because if it is proven that serious conflict of interest exists and you yourself holding practitioner's license, and which is under process before the previous PMDC regulator, courts must not sit in the judgment over the wisdom of legislation, as the President of Pakistan would be sole judge of existence of circumstances rendering necessary to take immediate action under law. It lies within your subjective satisfaction, hence your action is beyond the reach of all high courts of the country, and they cannot exercise jurisdiction under Article 199, but it requires that such a legislation be laid before the Houses of Parliament for deliberation and debate, which will make it a refined legislation. Try to learn from the 18th landmark constitutional amendment passed by the government, who was lacking 2/3 majority, but it engaged opposition successfully and made a 18th amendment successful. Thanks for supporting the good cause, and soon we will take issue of lengthy working hours of doctors, inshallah.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम, मेरा नाम डॉक्टर फजल रबी है और मैं YDA इस्लामाबाद का प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। ये जो अभी PMC ऑर्डिनेंस 2019 और मेडिकल ट्रिब्यूनल ऑर्डिनेंस 2019 एक सदारती ऑर्डिनेंस के हुक्म के ज़रिए नाफिज किया गया है, इस हवाले से आज हमारे लायर साइमुल हक सत्ती साहब, जो कि एडवोकेट सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, उसके ऑफिस में हम आए हैं। उनसे सारी चीज़ों को हमने डिस्कस किया है और इंशाल्लाह अकॉर्डिंगली हम हर फोरम पे जहाँ पे डॉक्टर्स के राइट्स, जहाँ पे मरीज़ों के राइट्स, हुकूक जो है जहाँ पे उनकी हक़ तलफ़ी हो, इंशाल्लाह YDA इसके लिए आवाज़ उठाएगी, खा वो कोर्ट में हो, खा वो हर फोरम पे। हम हर फोरम को इंशाल्लाह इस्तेमाल करेंगे, इस हवाले से आपको अपडेट करते रहेंगे। हम शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं
थैंक यू वेरी मच
साइमुल हक सत्ती साहब का कि उन्होंने हमारा भरपूर साथ दिया।